Welcome back to Ask Dan Anything. I'm Dan from Brojo, here to answer your questions about confidence and connections. And I've received a question today from a dude via email, and it's actually a two-part question, and I'm going to answer them in two separate videos. The first being about making very tough decisions around you want to go do something with your life, but you feel trapped by family commitments and obligations. We're going to talk about that today. The second one is about living a kind of Tim Ferriss laptop lifestyle that I kind of live. And I'm going to talk about that separately because it's a completely different issue. Here's how the question came through. He says, I went through my separation. They were married for 16 years and they have a daughter, and he feels tied to New Zealand. He says, I always feel like a bit of a luxury class prisoner in Auckland. Now, he would like to go for at least 6 months back to his home country and travel more. He says, I can't neglect my daughter. And a lot of his friends, except for like one who's living far away, have all moved back to Germany, so he's kind of isolated here, it sounds like. Now he asks, is it that New Zealand seemed too small, or is it that the home pulls us back? Why do I feel this way? Is travelling too expensive? How do you live that Tim Ferriss way where you're travelling all the time? Which, like I said, is a separate question. Like I like to do, I want to cut straight through to the heart, the core, behind the surface level problems to what's really going on. There's a little saying I'd like to get out there. Slavery is a state of mind. When you feel trapped in any situation, you need to quickly assess whether or not it's you trapping yourself or whether you are genuinely externally held down. Now, the way he's worded this email gives me the impression that he feels like something external is trapping him in, namely his daughter. He feels like he's trapped in the city because he has to be with his daughter. So it's an external, like he has no choice, he's powerless in this situation. Or maybe he's trapped by finances, it's too expensive to travel. So he's trapped in that way. What I want to point out is that you've already convinced yourself that you have no choice, yet the truth is you've made a decision already, and that decision was to prioritize your daughter. Okay? Or perhaps to prioritize your finances on other things. Your prioritization of your daughter and your finances is what's really keeping you here. You cannot make any further decisions while that decision is in play. So you're not really trapped by your daughter. She's not doing anything to keep you here. She doesn't tie you to a chair. She doesn't, threaten you in some way to keep you here. You decided to stay here by deciding to prioritize her. Now notice how you punish yourself and victimize yourself with this decision. You say, and I quoted it before, I can't neglect my daughter. Very powerful language. You've equated traveling to your home country for a few months with neglecting your daughter. Neglect is a very fucking powerful word, okay? Neglect is not providing food and housing, not providing any love or attention. Neglect is allowing them to do dangerous unruly things without any discipline. Traveling to your home country, you could Skype her twice a day, you could send her money or whatever resources she needs. You don't have to neglect her to travel. But notice how you use that word to imprison yourself. You're not allowed to neglect her, so therefore you're not allowed to travel if traveling is neglecting. Now I want everybody listening to take on board, this is how you trap yourself. You turn something that's quite reasonable to do into something that's awful to do just by the language, the extreme language you use. Right? These language traps create I call a self-made prison. Now I just want to separate the difference between a self-made prison and a real external limitation, an externally imposed prison. So external things are like money or the economy. Not your own money, but the economy. Like, I can't just go and take something from a store. I have to pay for it. Okay? I can't just go wherever I want. I have to buy property. That's an externally imposed limitation. Immigration and law, I can't just walk into any country I want because people will shoot at me, right? That's externally imposed. I didn't have any say in that. Physics, I can't just fly like a bird because of gravity, right? My body, right now I have to take medication for my cholesterol. I didn't choose that. And it doesn't matter how I live, it's a genetic thing. It's a limitation that I'm just going to have to deal with. And other genetics like that. Certain predispositions in my personality and everything. I was born with all this stuff. It's just the hand I've been dealt, right? And lack of awareness. I don't know what I don't know. And that is where most of my influence comes from. All my little insecurities and everything come from a place I don't understand yet. And that's a kind of external prison. A self-made prison are your priorities. When you decide this outranks this, you're now bound to those rules. You did that. Your insecurities, if you're worried about money, for example, that's you worrying about money. Money's not actually doing anything to you. Your worry is what harms you and holds you back. Comfort, or the need for instant gratification. If you don't want to experience fear, if you don't want to experience confusion, if you don't want to experience guilt or any of those feelings, then your decision making is going to be limited. But you not wanting to experience those things is what limits you. Okay, those feelings don't actually stop you. Fear doesn't stop you doing anything. Guilt doesn't stop you doing anything. So your situation of not being able to travel because of your daughter is really a self-made prison. You're not traveling because you prioritize your daughter's needs so much that you think being away from her is neglect, which is inaccurate. And you prioritize however you're spending your money now over spending money on travel. You made that decision. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision to make, it's just you have to own the decision. It could be exactly the right decision that aligns with your values, but the conflict you're feeling is that this decision's been imposed on you. No one made you prioritize your daughter. You have to own that and take responsibility for it. Your daughter's not your prison, your decision making is. So either you make peace with this decision, and objectively speaking, it's a reasonable one to make peace with. You like, okay, this time in my life, spending physical contact time with my daughter is higher priority than me living in my favorite city. That makes sense to me, okay? Just make your peace with that, okay? Auckland is where it's at for my daughter's sake. I'm going to be okay with that when I'm older. That's the decision I'm making. Or change your decision. If you're like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to live with that and I'll regret it when I'm older, and she's going to be fine with or without me being here for a few months, then go traveling, okay? Just either way, either make peace with your decision or change your decision, because this entire situation is 100% under your control. You are not being externally held down. And this goes for almost all of you watching. There'll be elements of your life you can't control that you're very focused on, the economy, politics, whatever. And yet there's heaps of shit under your control that you're not doing anything about and you're complaining about. Right? Know what the difference is between those two and free yourself from that prison by either accepting or taking responsibility and moving forward with a different decision. Hope that helps. Subscribe to the channel if that makes sense to you. Ask your questions through the link below, and I'll do a separate video coming up very soon on living the laptop lifestyle. Cheers.